Welcome back to Houston Newsmakers. We've got Congressman Ted Poe representing the 2nd Congressional District. I want to ask you, going back to Washington this next week, what are you most excited about getting back into once you get back into D.C.?
Well, what we need to do is work on the infrastructure of the United States, and we also need to change the tax structure. Those are two main things. But I am on foreign affairs, and I'm still concerned and will be concerned how we deal with all the international threats to the United States and to world peace. So on the international scene, we have to be very concerned about what's taking place. On the domestic scene, we need to move forward and solve the infrastructure problem, the tax issue.
Have you had town hall meetings here locally at all? And if so, how have they been? I know I got an email from somebody in Kingwood said they want to see you and they haven't seen you. What's the challenge of trying to get that kind of stuff done, and is it effective in getting feedback?
Well, the thing that we do telephone town halls where we call people in the district. We get more people on the line and can discuss issues better. I have found that the so-called public town halls really don't work very well. So I'm always accessible. People who want to ask me a question, just contact us. If they want to see us, we'll be open to always seeing folks. So we do more one-on-one talking to individuals than we do the so-called old-fashioned town halls. Over the years, I just found that those weren't as effective in communicating and getting information back from the public.
Right. They become pretty good photo ops at some point, don't they?
Well, that's right, they do. Some people have different motives for going to those town halls.
What about in Southeast Texas? Are both sides of the aisle working on? What is that you and Democrats are working together on that is good for all of us?
Well, one of the issues that we have here in Houston, and it's really a good problem, is our tremendous growth, not only in population but in the economy. So we have to be prepared long term to solve the transportation problem that we have, and it's only getting worse in the Houston area. We work very well bipartisan. The Houston delegation, Republicans and Democrats, work on that issue. Another issue is our border security and immigration problems. Henry Cuellar and I and others are working together on trying to solve that border security problem and then move next to solving the immigration problems that we've all known about since we were born.
Are they better now, though? The challenges of the immigration issue that we're dealing with, is that overall problem better in any kind of way that you would judge it as?
I think yes, it's better in the sense that we will get a solution. I think most Americans are not on the extremes. The extremes that say to legalize everybody, the other extreme says deport everybody. Most Americans are not on that, but that's the noise. We're right in the middle, 80%, and I think we will be able to work together to go through each of the 11 issues I see in immigration and deal with those. And same thing with the border security.
Tone, though, is really challenging sometimes from what we see and hear in Washington. That tone is just nasty. It seems that way. Does it seem that way for you? And how do you work through that and not be a part of a problem as part, you're a judge, you've always solved problems for a lot of people. How do you work to make that tone better?
Well, the tone in Washington is as bad as I have ever seen it. The rhetoric coming is vicious. And that's, it's not civil. It's not something that's going to be able to solve a problem. A lot of loud, vicious talk will never solve a problem. So we have to, get civil. Congress and people in government have to be more civil, and they're not.
And I run into you. I talk to Congressman Brady all the time, and Culberson, and Jackson Lee, and Green, both of them. Everybody's so nice. There's no nasty, but you get into the confines of D.C. and something happens.
Well, it's not everybody. It is only a few people, and I think in both parties, making all of the noise, and that will never solve a problem. But most of the worker bees is everybody else, and we get along great. Al Green and I have known each other since we both became lawyers 30 years ago, and we get along well. Things do get done in a bipartisan way. You never hear about it because it's not the fussing and feuding that a lot of people are doing.
Well, talking about getting things done in a bipartisan way, the investigation into the Russian meddling into our election, is that going to get done? Is it something that you consider a real threat to our democracy, or is it fake news like the president says?
Somewhere in between. I think that we're going to find the answer to that. We're going to solve that problem as to if the Russians were involved, And is there any work with the campaign? And let the chips fall where they may. I think that investigation is something what we need to do and finish. And the sooner we can finish that, the better. And it is in a bipartisan way. Our Judiciary Committee, other committees are looking into this, and we'll find the truth in there somewhere. But there's been a lot of rhetoric about that I'm not sure that that's going to ever play out to be the truth. So we need to solve it, and by finding exactly what happened.
How optimistic are you about the direction of our country and the role of this particular Congress in actually getting things done?
I'm very optimistic. We've had some bumps in the beginning, but I'm optimistic that we will get some things done. We have to. That is our responsibility, especially the Republicans. We have control. We've been critical, the opposition party, for too long about the previous administration. Now it's time to solve these problems and move on down the road that we have been talking about for years. I think many of them will be solved in a bipartisan way, and I am very optimistic that we can move the country forward rather than be stagnant.
Congressman Ted Poe, Judge Poe, good to see you again as always, and great to know that you're in remission. We wish for you nothing but great success and health as you go back to Washington, D.C. representing your constituents. Always good to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you, sir. Up next, we got the latest update on the condition of housing in Houston, the important information from the Kinder Institute for Urban Research. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues.